2021 mu January awo nga gutandika. Ekizimbe kino kimaze bakitandika 2020 mu November nga 15 twatandika invest gundi contract atandika okuzimba n'akimala 2021 mu mwezi gw'okuna ogwokutaano awo.
At Timex Nutrition Center, we advise you on the right foods to eat, exercise profile to adopt, and lifestyle strategies which are compatible to your blood group and genotype. This empowers your body to prevent and treat many diseases like diabetes, blood pressure, arthritis, ulcers, obesity, and many others. For more information, find us at our head office in Kampala on Nassa Road, Conrad Plaza, 2nd floor, or call 0758 819 952 or 0778 288 361. We also have other branches in Mbara and Jinja.
Kwete mama Rita Yaman Rastaman Rasa chazini nyetabantu mwena abanyambara na nemyanya etorireho manya aharwa mukagoro a university.
Up next on UBC, brought to you by
Keep the lights on. Use Airtel Money to pay for all your Yaka bills conveniently. Open the My Airtel app to buy Yaka units. Airtel Money. Simple, secure, borderless.
The DP in a memorandum of understanding with the NRM as the KAVC tournament back in Kampala. A very good evening to you tuned in to UBC TV. It's UBC News Tonight with me, Michael Jordan Lukomwa, and Elizabeth Nakakoni, a sign language interpreter. The National Resistance Movement Party, in a first story, has today signed a working cooperation agreement with the Democratic Party at State House in Entebbe. President Yoweri Museveni, also the national chairman of the NRM, signed on behalf of his party, while the DP President General, Honorable Norbert Mao, signed on behalf of the DP. The NRM Secretary General, Honorable Richard Todong, and that of DP Dr. Gerard Siranda also witnessed the signing. President Museveni, after the signing, congratulated Honorable Mao upon agreeing to work on steering DP to work with the NRM. He noted that this is something that should have happened at the top administrative level long ago. The president said that DP had good quality and was definitely sincere and more straightforward. Museveni also said that he was very happy with this milestone, saying that all this time, although DP has been supporting opposition, they have not been destructive. On his part, the DP President General appreciated the milestone on behalf of his party, saying that this is a continuous journey which started before some of them were born. He told President Museveni that he now has the historic opportunity to gather party members scattered all over the country. Mao said that the DP is committed to adhering to what has been agreed upon, and that this is living document that should continue growing. Mao said that documents signed show that they have managed to resolve the contradictions that they have been holding. He saluted the courage President Museveni exhibited all through and the risks he has taken, saying that Museveni is the captain of the ship called Uganda and that it is important to pray for Museveni as he leads Uganda. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. That was at State House in Tebe. Prime Minister Robin Nabbanja has directed all border riders in Kampala City to urgently comply with ongoing registration exercise. The directive follows previous attempts to have them registered, but the effort has been opposed by some politicians and a section of border riders.
The border riders have come under the spotlight following consistent public outcry against their involvement in crime and causing numerous fatal accidents. Previous border registration deadlines have not been met, partly due to political interference. At a stakeholders meeting held in Kampala and chaired by Prime Minister Robin Nabbanja, it was resolved that the registration must be completed by 1st September this year.
esobola okuvaamu ssente singa eyo bizinesi edede. It will die a natural death. I'm big sincere to you. Egende mu byalo ate mwegube mwekka nga tewali n'abagambyeko nga wano tewali alinnyo. Oba tutegeeragana. So tugenda tuteekateeka ekibuga. President Museveni ennaku zino alina ate vision ndala. Si biri bikadde. Si oli omukadde wa bulijjo maama. Mupya. Ono tibuhabulwa. Tibuhabulwa mupya. Omanyi yataddemu ffe abavubi tuli eno tuvuba kati ye ali ku strategic thinking. He is a strategic thinker. Akuba goal ali strategic thinker. Kakati bwe tutabalabula nga bukyala nti strategic thinker ali mu ntebe era agenda kuteeba goal ndala. Kakati goyizo okusigala wa ebbali. Nosigala ng'olemedde ku boda nga maama nyabunga ebitu byakyuse dda.
Nabbanja advised all border riders to embrace the exercise, warning that in future any rider not registered will not be allowed to continue operating.
A city has to be a city. I think enough is enough. We have been tolerant enough. Abantu baffe tugezezaako tubawadde projects bagende mu parish model. Parish model egaba kakadde ka sente bave ku kubu.
The Central Business District has been designated to have a total of 7,000 riders at specified stages. Street vending and hawking within the city will also be restricted. Criminals have taken refuge in the border industry where they base to commit atrocities against Ugandans. In the year 2019, the National Security Council ordered for registration of all border riders. The minister refuted allegations that the exercise was being used to extort money from border riders.
Establish clear guidelines for commercial riders about border, such as gazetting stages, electing their leaders, and nationwide oversight system. B, local authorities together with JIC, Joint Intelligence Committee, to gazette stages, zone them, and uniquely identify each border by code, by color and number.
Deputy RCC Nakawa Division Kasim Komgesha pledged to work closely with KCCA and other government line agencies to ensure that the registration exercise is concluded.
We are collectively working as a team of government and the border leadership to ensure that we capture the data, we capture the numbers of borders in Kampala, in that we have a cut-off points for what we want within the smart Kampala city.
The Uganda Driving Standard Agency Compliance Manager Mobiru Baker said a number of riders have been registered, subjected to medical tests and trained in the best road practices. The chairman Boda Riders in Kampala, Ibrahim Sekaja, called on fellow riders to comply with the registration directive to streamline the operations. The meeting was also attended by the Minister for Kampala, Hajat Min Sakabanda, and Tourism State Minister Martin Mgara.
Parliament has passed the Mining and Minerals Bill of 2021 as returned by the President with amendment to quantify the aspect of large-scale mining. President Yoweri Museveni returned the bill, which was passed on the 18th of February 2022, with objection to the 3 clauses. Whereas the Committee on Environment and Natural Resources okayed the President's concerns, the House passed the bill with amendments to specify a clear definition of the large-scale mining.
That way, delete the definition.
About 5 months ago, Parliament passed the Mining and Minerals Bill 2021. President Yoweri Museveni disagreed with 3 clauses of the bill and threw the ball back to Parliament. Speaker of Parliament Anita Among referred the matter to the Committee on Environment and Natural Resources. Chaired by West Budama, South Member of Parliament Emmanuel Otala, the Committee on Environment and Natural Resources considered the objections and concerns of the President.
That a new provision, numbered 59, threshold for large-scale mining license, be inserted under cross-heading large-scale mining licenses.
However, in a minority report presented by Aisha Nalule Kabanda, a consideration leading to delegation of ministerial powers to define and determine the classification of large-scale mining is an open road to compromise the projected Act of Parliament.
I'm aware that anyone, of course you're aware that any one of us can hold that office. That notwithstanding, the inherent self-interest usually demonstrated by individuals holding public office is the reason some countries like Tanzania and Zambia have cured this dilemma by establishing a threshold in the Mining Act and throughout statutory instruments.
I would beseech this House to allow this threshold to be defined for the different kind of minerals by statutory instrument. I beg to submit.
Despite passing the Mining and Minerals Bill 2021 as returned by the President with amendments, the MPs tasked Minister of State for Energy Okasi Sidronas Opolot to improvise a schedule defining and differentiating large from small-scale mining.
I take what the leader of opposition has put forward, and I would wish to concede that let's pass the bill and then I bring the schedules to the House.
Thank you, Honorable Minister.
The mining and mineral sector in Uganda has since faced regulations which has caused more havoc to both the authorities and the operators. Daniel Mugoya, Gloria Gutabinji, UBC News.
Candidates seeking to fill the vacant parliamentary position for Soroti East constituency have been warned against election irregularities to avoid unbearable legal consequences. This warning comes barely days after successful conclusion of the nomination exercise, which saw 3 candidates cleared for the July 28th parliamentary by-election. Soroti City returning officer Christine Ayu echoed this while meeting candidates to harmonize on campaign programs for the next 6 days exercise.
The last 2 days have seen business in Soroti City brought to a near halt following successful nomination of candidates. for Soroti East by-elections. Crowds have been growing. Supporters have been energized as successfully nominated candidates hope for victory. This has, however, come with some reported pockets of violence, with candidates accusing each other of intimidation.
Ministers campaigning in this region must park the government vehicles. Taxpayers' money, government resources must not be used here in the guidelines that guide this election. We will not accept a minister to camp here on taxpayers' fuel. No.
I am used to Mr. Tans being a crybaby and a little one. I don't know why he's not in a nursery school, because he's done this in 2016, he did it in 2021, he's doing it again. I use my personal vehicles. Indeed, I am not short of transport logistics. I have resources, and as far as that is concerned,
we will not accept government vehicles. No vehicle will move in this constituency with the number plates covered. We have put that call to security.
I have several friends who have loads of mobility. I do not have to use a government vehicle. I resigned my office on the 1st of July when I was aware that I was coming for elections.
However, to ensure maintenance of harmony during the campaign period, Electoral Commission has met with candidates to harmonize on the campaign program.
Even if you take a post of Ariko or Atan, they know him. You are doing nothing. These people were here in generations. It is just a matter of, even if we go for polls now, they know you and him.
As you realize when you read your campaign guidelines, this time we are going to be very strict. When you look at it, it has a fine and also imprisonment somewhere there.
NRM's Herbert Ariko was represented as FDC's Moses Atan was present. Guidelines were shared and campaign schedules were adopted. Candidates and their agents are called upon to abide by the electoral rules.
Atan was in the parliament, Ariko was in the parliament. The laws we are following, the laws we are going to enforce, were put in place by you.
We are encouraging non-sectarian campaigns. We are saying no to the use of government resources like the vehicles, defacement of posters of other candidates, and the abusive languages. We do not want some of these things.
Expected in the course of the campaigns is NRM National Party Chairman, also Uganda's President, General Yoweri Museveni.
Temporarily, we have received the communication that he will come on 25th. And when he comes here, a few days, 25th, we shall be able to give details of where he will be having a rally. Our people shouldn't be worried because the president can be in Soroti as a head of state, but at the same time, he can be here as a party chairperson.
Campaigns are programmed to end on 26 July 2021, 2 days to elections, slated for 28th July of this same year. Henry Okurut, UBC.
Kwenda village Sinjiro district after his vehicle rammed into heaps of soil and culverts in the middle of Kikagate-Kitwe Road left by UNRA. Users of this road have held demonstrations accusing UNRA for causing such accidents. Local leaders want the Uganda National Roads Authority to compensate for the lives lost, take care of the families, or face the law.
This is the Kikagate-Kitwe UNRA road that has since become a death trap over soil and culverts that were left in the middle of the road unused. Just last night, one Gabirano Dewes, 30 years, a resident of Rakakwenda village in Kabuyanda sub-county, accidentally rammed into these heaps of soil and died instantly. This sudden incident has compelled locals to demonstrate, stressing their dismay against UNRA for the shoddy work.
They brought culverts, put them in the road where it is not necessary, put sand and whatever, and many accidents are happening here. About 5 people, more than 10 people have got injured on this road.
The angry locals blocked the road with stones and tree poles, demanding for an explanation from UNRA officials why they did so. This act paralyzed the traffic flow. Reports indicate that UNRA contracted this road to one Kamgisha Edison 3 months ago, but he has since abandoned the construction process. District officials came up and stressed this concern to UNRA officials, but these are yet to respond.
We are appealing to His Excellency the President, the Minister in charge of Works, all relevant authorities to come to for our rescue, to rescue us from this situation. Accidents are very rampant, trade has stopped.
Ngabirano Robert, the father of the deceased, has now tasked UNRA and the Minister of Works to compensate the life of his son, take care of the family of the deceased, and incur the burial costs, lest he will drag them to court. Efforts to get a comment from Julius Ahura, the UNRA station manager from Mbarara, were futile, as by press time he was in the hospital. Locals have also given UNRA an ultimatum of only 2 days to remove their heaps of soil and unused culverts from the road before they take yet another action.
Public Service Minister Muruli Mukasa has urged management of public institutions of learning to embrace the culture of promotion of school peace clubs in order to have a safer learning environment required for national transformation. The minister said this at the launch of the Public Secondary Schools Clubs program during a Students' Peace Summit, which was held at Kyambogo College School in Kampala.
The Uganda chapter of the Global Peace Foundation has embarked on a peace-building, reconciliation and patriotism program in public secondary schools to address the vices of strikes, vandalism, sexual harassment and bullying among students. Presiding over the launch of the Public Secondary Schools Peace-building program at Kyambogo College School, Kampala, Public Service Minister Muruli Mukasa said that such programs should be extended to all schools of Uganda for the sake of a better society in the future.
Of the peace clubs is that we are now appealing to the young people in secondary schools to embrace peace. Peace not only as a practical way of life, but also as an ideology.
The Global Peace Foundation Peace Ambassador Militon Kambula said that they came up with such a program after research which established that indiscipline and violence on the increase in Uganda's secondary, tertiary and higher institutions of learning.
And if you want better testimonies, go to the teachers to now get the idea that, okay, how did the students behave when you were teaching before COVID? And how are they behaving now? That research is very, very critical for government to be guided on the interventions going forward.
During the ceremony, Dr. Grace Baguma, the director of the National Curriculum Development Center, together with the Kyambogo College teacher Helen Tonjerirwe, received special awards in recognition of their roles in mentoring students in various fields. The Global Peace Foundation is a Washington-based non-partisan organization working in 50 countries worldwide. The Grant Thornton Foundation is among the supporting partners to the Uganda chapter. Edward Colin Juko for UBC, Jambogo in Kampala.
The South Korean government has commended the Parish Development Model Program, which has similar objectives, such as the program for establishment of sustainable model villages from Korea, that it will improve the socio-economic development of the communities in Uganda. The country project manager from South Korea, Ha-Suk Park, says that many years ago, before the establishment of their own projects in South Korea, the country was poor, but now ranks among the richest in the world.
The Parish Development Model Program will improve the socio-economic environment and community leadership in the country if well executed. The country manager for project for establishment of sustainable model villages from South Korea, Ha-Suk Park, says Parish Development Model Program has similar objectives like the establishment of sustainable model villages, and pledged support for the government to implement the program. Ha-Suk Park was speaking in the leadership and mindset change training for political leaders in establishment of sustainable model villages to implementation in PG district.
I believe that this training will be a good platform for us to prepare and be ready to exercise this new model in PG. And I hope through this training you shall understand how South Korea implemented its rural development strategy in the past and what the ESMV project has achieved and how it links to the PDM.
During the 3 days training at National Farmers Leadership Center, Kampiringisa, Mpigi District, the Chief Administrative Officer Mpigi utilized the knowledge achieved to change their mindset and avoid politicizing government programs.
The work of leaders is to deliver services. Time for politics ended for politics. Now we are in implementation. All these leadership have been given a mandate to steer their offices for the next 5 years. So we are not in politics, we are in service delivery. And we have arranged these trainings, and we shall arrange even others to make sure that they get exactly the skills which they can use to mobilize and advocate for government programs.
Kanyarutoche thanked the Korean establishment of Sustainable Model Villages project for supporting the training. The principal National Farmers Leadership Center Institute, Ukwaja John Bosco, encouraged political leaders to train communities to shift to commercial farming aimed at fighting poverty.
The land is very small, but we need that piece of land. You can do something. And the PS, the President and the Ministry has emphasized that with the small land holdings we have, we practice what we call intensive farming. If you have an acre, you might not grow maize, because maize in an acre you might produce on about 10 bags. And when you sell the 10 bags, the money you get.
Sudat Kai, Fred Kasivanti, UBC News.
UBC TV News Tonight. Now, this very evening, we expect to give you the national address by His Excellency the President, General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. Anytime from now, we expect him to come in, and we shall have it live on UBC TV, the national broadcaster, as usual. So keep glued, do not miss any bit. But moving on with the news, single mothers and former street children in Hoima District have started benefiting from a vocational skills training project offered by the SBC company that was contracted to construct Hoima International Airport. The ladies being sheltered at Buseruka Primary School in Buseruka Sub-County are being trained in tailoring, fashion design, among other skills.
Barbara Chilima is one of the beneficiaries of vocational skills training project offered by SBC, a company contracted to construct Hoima Airport. She said that they have undergone 6 months tailoring course, which has enabled them to acquire skills in tailoring and fashion design. Nachilima dropped out of school in Buseruka due to lack of tuition and decided to start vending pancakes. However, her business collapsed when she gave birth. Jacqueline Ahumuza, another beneficiary, said that they acquired special skills which have enabled them to make overalls since they are needed in the construction and oil and gas sector.
Company to give us a contract whenever they are in need of the overall and the masks, to call us so that we get that money. We can make them overalls and the masks.
Amos Murisa, the public relations officer for SBC Uganda, said that under their social corporate responsibility program, they identified the gap within the communities and designed modalities of addressing it.
Considering to give them an order of, say, like 500 overalls, so that in case tomorrow we want to buy the PPEs, the overalls, we don't have to go to the tailors in Kampala or wherever.
He said the training targets unemployed, poor and teenage mothers in order to empower them economically through employable and marketable skills.
And we know in the influx, in the situation of such an influx in the community, they are very vulnerable. If not equipped with skills to sustain themselves, they will be subdued to get involved in such many other activities that could lead to, or that could be a risk to them.
Merab Kamatene's parent said that the support by SBC is timely and is positively changing the attitude of young people from idleness to the service industry.
We thank you so much for watching. Let's take a short break. On return, we'll have business news tonight. This is UBC TV.
Vimba! Ni MTN Kabode Super as you pay mpola for this smartphone. Make calls, update your WhatsApp status, watch YouTube, and Google anything under the sun with 2 GB worth of data every month for 7 months. Simply make a small deposit of 99k and pay the balance mpola. You can pay in daily, weekly, or even monthly installments while you enjoy your new phone. So what are you doing today? Visit any MTN shop near you and get the MTN Kabode Super easy.
At Timex Nutrition Center, we advise you on the right foods to eat, exercise profile to adopt, and lifestyle strategies which are compatible to your blood group and genotype. This empowers your body to prevent and treat many diseases like diabetes, blood pressure, arthritis, ulcers, obesity, and many others. For more information, find us at our head office in Kampala on Nassa Road, Conrad Plaza, 2nd floor, or call 0758 819 952 or 0778 288 361. We also have other branches in Bara and Jinja.
The Oil and Gas Moment, brought to you by Petroleum Authority of Uganda, creating lasting value in Uganda's oil journey. In order to be contracted to supply goods and services for oil activities in Uganda, you must register on the National Suppliers Database. Between 2017 and 2021, close to 400 Ugandan entities were awarded various contracts to supply goods and services to the sector.
TechLab Limited is a geosciences company that has been offering geotechnical and geophysical investigation services to the East African market since its inception in 2002. Our experience working with Ama Energy has been a pleasurable one. The seismic surveys have always been on our radar, and when this opportunity came up, we put together a winning bid and became the first Ugandan company to provide seismic services under an oil and gas contract in Uganda.
Registration on the National Suppliers Database is free. Visit www.pau.go.ug, creating lasting value in Uganda's oil journey.
Enjoy
Enjoy more GBs for the same price on Airtel. Shareable using 2 Gabane. We have increased GBs across all your favorite packs. Now, 4 GB is at 10,000 shillings and 10.5 GB at 22,500 shillings, all valid for a week. For the heavy data users, enjoy 24 GB at 50,000 shillings and 50 GB at 100,000 shillings, all valid for a month. Dial *175# or use the My Airtel app to buy these and more affordable weekly and monthly data bundles on Airtel, the smartphone network.
Oh, Susan, I want to propose to Rose. Yes, and this time I am serious.
Have you guys had sex?
Duh, of course.
And have you had sex without using condoms?
Hey, Nga, you're curious.
I'm more concerned. Are you having sex with other people?
Hey, hello, is this an interview or what?
No, just things you should think about. Do you know Rose's HIV status?
Okay, this is serious. Should I be worried?
It is actually serious. Do you know your HIV status?
I think I am safe. Many times we get into situations that put us at risk of HIV. However, the first step to ending HIV is getting tested and knowing your results.
It's Time Up HIV. Call 0800-211-046 or text 8080 toll-free for more information about how to prevent HIV.
This message is brought to you by Ministry of Health with support from USAID.
National Council for Higher Education will hold the 4th Annual Higher Education Conference on the 14th and 15th September 2022. The conference theme is Enhancement of Teaching, Learning and Assessment with Ordeal in Higher Education. The guest of honor will be the First Lady and Minister of Education and Sports, Honorable Janet Kataha Museveni. The conference will be held physically at Hotel Africana for only invited guests and open to online participants via Zoom webinar that will be shared under the events section at www.unche.or.ug. The keynote speakers are Ezra Nazim, Senior Fellow of Higher Education Academy UK, Professor Henk Gerald Sola, a Dutch organizational theorist and Emeritus Professor of Business, Engineering and ICT at Groningen University, the Netherlands. The National Council for Higher Education is receiving papers from researchers and scholars for publication in the Uganda Higher Education Review, Journal of National Council for Higher Education. For more details, send inquiries to cmuhumuza@unche.org. info@unche.or.ug or call 0783 040024 or 0704 800926 plus 256 39 32 62 140/4.
Get connected today with the My Airtel 4G smartphone and enjoy free data for 1 whole year worth 86,500 Uganda shillings. That's free 2 GB for the first month and free 1 GB for the next 11 months at only 250,000 Uganda shillings with free data for 1 whole year worth 86,500 shillings, making the effective price of the 4G phone 163,500 shillings only. Airtel, the smartphone network.
UBC Business News tonight. Anytime now, we'll be taking you to the presidential address that is going to be there this very evening. But as we wait, let's move on with business news. State Minister for Trade, Harriet Ntabazi, has challenged micro, small and medium-sized enterprises over rushing to the foreign markets before satisfying the domestic market demands. Ntabazi was officiating at the 3rd edition of the MSMEs Week Expo at Lugogo grounds and called on the small business community to utilize available government support initiatives to build their resilience.
The 3rd edition of the Micro, Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises Week has kicked off in Multipurpose Hall at Umasho grounds. The State Minister for Trade, Harriet Ntabazi, officiated the opening and challenged these small manufacturers of their capacity to prioritize the domestic market.
It is, we have the 40 million of Ugandans. This is enough market. We have East African market, which is more than 2 billion people. We have added on Congo market, which is a fresh virgin market that we are looking at. Now, on top of the COMESA, market which we know, the AGOA market, which is into craft, and the African Free Trade Area. So we have a lot of market which we are targeting.
Small businesses are not aware of the available market opportunities, ranging from domestic, community, regional, and at the international level. This lack of information has hindered many from accessing alternative financial channels.
The challenge now is that the market is there, but we need to strongly supply quality. We supply it in quantities and consistently. We need to, that one I must repeat again, because you might have the quality of the good, but you cannot supply it consistently, sustainably. So we need to sustain the market so that Uganda is known for at least 5 or 7 products on the world market.
Many MSMEs are barred from participating in formal businesses and tapping into alternative financial services due to failure to certify their operations with statutory agencies.
This expo is free. Come, look at what the other SMEs are doing. If your product is not certified, how can we support you so that you have your product certified? Because the ministry has put in place a very liberal regime to support the certification of SMEs at very subsidized rates.
The high cost of internet is among other hurdles hindering MSMEs' operations in this fourth industrial revolution, which warrants technological uptake.
How do we support, how do we reduce the cost of access to internet so that our youth can promote their products, not only physically, but also digitally? Now we talk about the OTT.
Business stakeholders want the government to find the relief to the increasing fuel prices affecting cost of production.
The medium ones certainly will feel it because their production is heavy and they employ many people. Okay, so now you had the cost of fuel being high, then you have the cost of labor, then you have other costs. Certainly, they are going to be impacted more.
The increase in fuel prices is likely to affect market forces where demand will supersede supply of commodities on the market. Abdul Nasele Luwama, UBC Business.
Abdul Nasili Luwama there. From the financial statements released as of the December 2021, UAP Old Mutual registered 78% growth in fund size, closing the year at 615 billion Uganda shillings in assets under management from 345 billion Uganda shillings in 2020. The largest inflows registered were in the flagship Umbrella Trust Fund, which recorded an 80% growth. The balanced fund registered a growth of 21%, while the money market fund dropped by 7% during the same period, closing 2021 with 11,894 unit holders, thus registering a growth of 76% from 6,751 by the close of the year 2020.
Country was struggling, asking for different donations, but we noticed that our people ideally did sit back and just be spending the money. So that's why we noticed a very big growth.
UAP Money Market Fund twakola amagoba ga bitundu 11 ku buli 100 je twandegambye 11% mu 40-40. Umbrella Trust era nayo twakola amagoba ga bitundu 11 ku buli 100. Mu balance fund twakola amagoba ga bitundu 13 ku buli 10.
The optimism that came with the reopening of the economy being diminished by global geopolitical tensions have led to rise in energy and commodity prices, with global inflation hitting historical highs for the 2022 economic outlook.
Around the oil and gas, I think that's a very good opportunity for the country, in the sense that it's something that we've been waiting for quite a bit. And right now, more than ever, does it make sense because global oil prices are high. If I remember very well, our break-even production point was somewhere around $30 or $40 a barrel. But now you're looking at over $103, $105 a barrel. And in the event that that continues, as a country, we are likely to get an immediate dividend.
We thank you so much for watching UBC TV and keeping it with us, and for watching UBC News tonight. Now, like we announced since yesterday, His Excellency the President, General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, will address the nation this evening, and according to the signals here, the time is now. So we take you straight to the presidential address. Thank you so much for watching, and keep it here.
We still have pigs who like killing people. There was the killing of our LC3 councillor in Kamocha. Then there was the killing of the student. Then there had been some killings in Karamoja. Of course, you know, before that we had killings of women in Entebbe, the killings in Masaka area, the killings by ADF, planting bombs. But I can assure you that whoever kills Ugandans will be held accountable. You take the example of ADF. They thought they were in Congo and they could kill our people with impunity. But I can assure you, they have paid a very heavy price. And we are continuing to hunt them until they will either come out or they will be finished. Now the same goes for these who killed Mr. Kakoza, the NRM person of Kamocha. We shall go for them. The ones who killed the student, we shall go for them. The ones who killed people in the Masaka area, quite a number of suspects are already in courts. So I want you to be assured that the security forces are now more capable than at any one time. And whatever gaps they are still there, that still are, will be closed. So that every Ugandan, whoever he is, should feel assured that if anybody does harm to him, the doer of the harm will pay heavily. And that's why I appeal to the courts to stop the liberalism of treating with kid gloves the criminals. So I thought I should mention that. Then in the Bible, in the book of Genesis, chapter 11, it reads as follows. This is chapter 11. The Tower of Babel. Now the whole earth had one language and one speech. And it came to pass, as they journeyed from the east, that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. Then they said to one another, "Come, let us make bricks and bake them thoroughly." They had brick for stone, and they had asphalt for mortar. And they said, "Come, let us build ourselves a city and a tower whose top is in the heavens. Let us make a name for ourselves, lest we be scattered abroad over the face of the whole earth." But the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the sons of men had built. And the Lord said, "Indeed, the people are one, and they all have one language. And this is what they begin to do. Omwenkano. Try to be like God. In Uganda calls it omwenkano. Omweringanzo. The Wanyankore call it. Now, nothing that they propose to do will be withheld from them. Come, let us go down there, confuse their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. So the Lord scattered them abroad from there over the face of all the earth, and they ceased building the city. Therefore, it is called Babel, because there the Lord confused the language of all the earth, and from there the Lord scattered them abroad over the face of the earth. Now, when people try omwenkano, to be like God, okweringaniza, the Banyankore call it, okweringaniza na Ruhanga, you get bad consequences. And that's what I've come to talk to you about here. Now, some people in the world, since some centuries now, have been behaving like God, trying to be like God. God said this, for them they do the opposite, because they think they are very clever. So, what are the consequences? First of all, Corona. Where did Corona come from? It was people doing what they are not supposed to do. There are different theories. Some people say it came from the labs, the laboratories of some people who are trying to be like gods. Some people say that it came from people eating wild animals, wild creatures which should not be eaten. Banyankore call them ebihagaro, ebitaribwa, things that should not be eaten, abominable abominations, but people just eat them. Now, what is the consequence? We get Corona. I don't know, my file with the corona, they were supposed to give me some documents on corona, the latest. I want to find out what's happening now. Let me see now. But here we are managing. Here we are managing. Watch. Just calm down. Here we are managing that I hear that the minister is now saying the minister is telling me that in the whole world, since Corona started about 2 years ago, 561 million people, badang, obukadde bikumi bitano munkaga mukamu have been attacked by Corona, have been infected. The death, 6 million. 6.3 million. And besides this, in the last 7 days, a total of 5 million new cases have been registered in the whole world, with 260 deaths. By 10th July, the countries reporting the highest number of new cases per week were France, every week, 771,000, imagine. United States, 722,000. Italy, 661,000. Every day, No, per week, in a week. Germany, and so on. And the death in the US, 1,900, Brazil, 1,600, China, 692, Italy, 574. Somebody rang me from Italy yesterday and told me that about 100 people are dying per day in Italy from Corona. In the African region, Kenya, in 1 week, 745 cases, Rwanda 172, Uganda 368, South Africa 1,700. The situation in Uganda, because you listened to my advice, to the advice of our technical team, I wouldn't say my advice, actually, because I was being guided by the technical team, we managed to control the corona. In the 2 years, 167,000 people were infected, 100. You hear that in France, in 1 week, 700,000. Here, in 2 years, 167,000. Buli muntu yena kyasiga kyekyakungula, buli muntu wena kyava nikyajesha. Whatever man sows, that's what he reaps. Because here I told you very frankly that if we are not strict, people will die. And you have seen what has happened. And the total number of people who died in all these 2 years in Uganda, 3,626. These are people who are dying in one week in some of the places. Now, in Uganda here, the average number of cases increased from 20 per week between January to May 2022 to over 600 cases per week in the month of June, but has now reduced to an average of 380 per week in the month of July. Furthermore, the positivity rate steadily increased from 1% during January to May to an average of 3.3%. During the month of June, the country registered 25 deaths, most of whom were not vaccinated or if they were vaccinated but not boosted. All the deaths, irrespective of age, had associated comorbidities, which include hypertension, diabetes, heart disease, and cancer. In the last 1 week, positive cases have been reported from 24 districts, and the leading districts were Kampala, Wakiso, and Mbende, with more than 30 cases each. Districts with cases between 11 and 30 per week included Mbarara, Mitoma, Kisoro, Bundubujo, Kamwenje, and Bunyangabo. The rest of the districts have cases below 10 per week. I'm also informed that most of the cases are mild to moderate and do not require admission. However, the severe and critical cases that are admitted frequently progress to death. By yesterday, there were only 3 cases in admission, 2 in Mulago and 1 in Masaka. As I have indicated above, the positivity rate, the measure used to track the extent of transmission of the virus in the community, has remained below 5%. This means the country has averted the 4th wave because of our strong efforts to contain the epidemic through the vaccination and adherence to SOPs. Countrymen and countrymen, you recall that in March 2021, we rolled out vaccination against COVID-19 as one of the major measures to provide additional protection against this virus. The COVID-19 vaccination contributes to the reduction of severe disease and death, which has been our major goal from the outset. As of today, the country has cumulatively received 47 million doses of assorted vaccines. Of these, 15.8 million are the Johnson & Johnson single-dose vaccines, while the rest, 31 million, are 2-dose vaccines. So the 31 million can vaccinate another 15 million. 15 million. The vaccines include those procured by the government, bought by the government of Uganda, and those received as donations. The country has made some progress in vaccinating the population over 18 years, estimated at 22 million, against COVID-19. As of the 17th of July 2022, a total of 18 million had received at least 1 dose of any of the vaccines, and 12 million were fully vaccinated. A total of 361,000 people had received booster doses. My attention has been drawn to the 5.9 million that are partially vaccinated, and the 4.6 million Ugandans over the 18 years of age who have not received any vaccine at all. 4.6 million have not received any vaccine. They have refused to go 5.9 million are partially vaccinated. Only one dose. 4.6 million not vaccinated at all, and yet they should be vaccinated because they are above the age of 18. Despite the efforts by the government to bring vaccines closer to the people through mass vaccination campaigns, outreaches, and placing vaccines at all health center cities and above, it is unfortunate to see that 5.9 million people have only received one dose, while 4.6 million have not got any vaccine at all. Kata would call it tutia. In regards to the original priority groups of 4.8 million people, health workers, teachers, elderly, and armed forces, I have been informed that out of the 3.3 million elderly, only 1.5 million are fully vaccinated and now require booster doses. Science has told us that unlike many other vaccines, the protection offered by COVID-19 vaccines reduces with time, especially after 6 to 8 months. This is the reason we advise people who completed the full vaccination to take a booster dose after 6 to 8 months. I am aware that the low uptake of vaccines and booster doses is due to fear and misinformation among the general public. I therefore direct the Right Honourable Prime Minister to work out a schedule for all ministers to go and sensitize the population as we did for the parish development model. I now call upon all Ugandans to embrace the COVID-19 vaccination to avoid unnecessary death and exorbitant costs of treatment in private health facilities that we witnessed in 2021. We are also going to start vaccinating children because some of the children have contracted corona, 14,000 of them, and even 7 of them died. 7 of them died, the children of 5 to 17. That is why it is important to get these children vaccinated, but with the consent of parents. I've directed the Minister of Health to ensure that vaccines for children are available in all health facilities so that during the holidays, parents can voluntarily take their children for vaccination. We shall begin with the vaccination of the children 12 years to 17 years. These are 6.6 million, as we plan for those between 5 and 11 years, who are 9.2 million. I'm informed that many of you have not been happy ever since we announced plans to vaccinate the Bazukuru, aged 12 to 17 years old. As you have seen, with this disease, it affects everyone, including the children. The problem with the children is they can easily pick the infection from school and bring it back to their parents and grandparents. In addition, those with comorbidities may even die. Comorbidities means if you have got other sicknesses. Therefore, vaccinating the children and adolescents not only protects them, but also protects the elderly and those with comorbidities, because the children don't bring problem to their parents and grandparents, many of whom have other diseases. Since we roll out our vaccination, 971,000 children have received at least one dose of Pfizer vaccine, and 253,000 are fully vaccinated. So therefore, I am really calling everybody, the 5.9 million who have gotten one dose, go and get a second dose. Please. Twegayiride genda bakugema omulundi ogwokubiri. The 4.6 million youth, the ones above 18, who have never got even a single dose, please go. And then now we start with the children now. I was in Kigali for the Commonwealth, and in the Commonwealth spirit, I almost got corona for myself. Because I was sitting with in the main meeting, I was very careful, I put on my mask. But when we went to the smaller meeting, I relaxed a bit, I removed the mask, and I was sitting with Boris Johnson here, the Prime Minister of Britain, and a man from Tuvalu. Tuvalu is a small island of 12,000 people. And the man had corona. And I sat with him for almost 1.5 hours. So when I came back, I went to Tungamo, our home there, and I self-isolated myself. They did the rapid test first, then the other one. Then I quarantined myself for, I think, like 4 or 5 days. They did the test. I had no problem. So it could be that this vaccination, because I definitely was sitting near this man, and he even spoke. He didn't cough. I didn't hear him coughing, but he spoke as part of the contribution before we knew that he had corona. But you find I was not affected. Why? For me, I think it was because of the vaccine, the vaccinations I had. That's what I think. Mom and my children, my girls, think it was God who did this and that and that. But barugerada bajajjaffe barugerada nti lubaale mbeera nembera okwotadde. God helps those who help themselves. So therefore, please get vaccinated. So corona came from omwenkanonkano, omweringanizo. Human beings trying to be like God. And you see how much trouble it has given us. We are now trying to see how to get out. And I told you very frankly how it can be done, and we did it. We did it. I don't know whether there's any country in the world which performed better than Uganda in handling this issue. Now, omwenkanonkano, climate change. God gave us the earth, put everything there. The whole system is well arranged. In the book of Genesis, very clear, when God created the earth, after some days he said, let water separate from the dry land. And there were lakes, there were mountains, there were dry land. But omwenkanonkano, omweringanizo, omwekiro, some people come and say God was wrong. What is the water? I want to turn it into a garden. But God is the one who said that this is Eksaru, a wetland, Ekshara. Now you come and you say, no, God was wrong. Then the use of substances which are not well checked, like the use of fossil fuels, the petroleum and all that, they generate carbon dioxide, which increases in the atmosphere. Because in 1961, when I was doing my chemistry at Ntare, I was told clearly nitrogen, I think, is 78% of the atmosphere, oxygen 21%, and I think carbon dioxide like something 2 or something percent. That's what it was. But now, because of the human beings not respecting what God did, the carbon dioxide, and this carbon dioxide at Ntare, we were using it as a fire extinguisher because it is a bad conductor of heat. It suppresses heat. If you put, while oxygen supports combustion, carbon dioxide puts out the fire. So, more carbon dioxide in the atmosphere creates a blanket effect over us. Instead of the heat escaping to outer space, the heat is now retained because it's like you have covered yourself with the blanket. Now, this global warming, you have seen what's happening in Europe. I didn't come with the pictures here. If you had those pictures, you could show them to these Ugandans, what I've been seeing on other television, the fires in Spain, in France, in England, London, fires. If you can manage to put them here so that they see them, the fires, those countries are on fire now, caused by the temperature in London reached 42 degrees. Kampala here has never even had 35. But London reached 42 the 2 days ago. It's so hot. All caused by what? Omwenkanonkano. Omwechiro. People trying to be like God, not respecting what God has done. Now, because of that, the Banyankole say, when it is already morning, then you try to cover yourself to get warm. But you were you should have covered yourself in the early part of the night so that you sleep well. Now, these people, recently they went to a conference. I didn't go because of this corona. I refused. They wanted me to go. It was in Scotland. They said now we must get rid of what they call the fossil fuels. Get rid of petroleum, diesel, as a fuel for vehicles, and go to electric cars. Now, when this was passed as a declaration, the oil companies which were looking for petroleum stopped. They stopped. Say, ate petrol tukyanoonya yaki kubanga petroleum bagenda kugiwera mu nsi yonna. Petroleum will be phased out, will be banished. Now, because no more exploration for oil and gas. The little gas, now katumula bana Uganda laba ekiri ku bazungu. Mulabe ekiri ku bazungu. Ensi zonna z'abazungu kati ziri mu murro. Spain, France, Portugal, United States, UK, buli muntu yenna kikyasiga kikyakungula. So, because of the fear, trying to okwebika obudde bukedde, to trying okweshuka obudde bwasesere, to cover yourself when it is already morning, they now say we phase out petroleum for cars. In the next, I don't remember what they said, was it how many years? They said something about, these fellows can give you more details, the Wadiumusis, the timetable which they put. Now, because of that, no more exploration. Now, because of no more exploration, the petroleum which is there now started becoming very expensive. Even before the war in Ukraine, petroleum price had gone to $80 a barrel. And it is not likely to go down because of this fear. Of this fear that petrol agenda, therefore, petroleum will be phased out. Therefore, we don't have to look for new fields. Therefore, we only remain with the old amount of the reserves. It's good for us because we have also got some petroleum here. When it starts coming out, we are going to get quite a lot of money. But for now, it is a problem. Now, Omuna-Uganda wagambira nti tuba tukyali awo when we were still dealing with the problem of the worry for the phase out. The war starts in Ukraine. Russia is one of the big producers of oil. Now the Europeans, in their wars with Russia, they say, we embargo Russian oil. So the price really went up. From 80, where it was, dollars per barrel, it's now 100. At one time it got to 116 or something like that, a barrel. So, for one of Uganda, bwetulaba ebbeeyi y'amafuta erinye bweti eyo y'ensibuko y'ekizibu. Okusooka wadde olutalo terwaliwo naye ku lw'okweraliikirira nti amafuta bagenda kugawera mu nsi yonna mu myaka oba meka balina okubategeeza emyaka gye bateekako. Abaali banoonya amafuta bayimirira. Ekisigala ku mafuta gali amatono agaliwo nagafe mwegali. Kati y'ensonga ebbeeyi y'amafuta ago amatono agaliwo okulinnya. obuseere oba mu Luganda oba bagana ekigambo kyo bakirina obuseere okuseera
obuseere bw'amafuta obuseere
obuseere mwekiri kiringa olunyankole nolwekyo obuseere obwo buva mu kweraliikirira nti kubanga tewaliwo akyanoonya amafuta amapya ag'omutaka gano amatono agaliwo galinnya ebbeeyi nagaffe mwegali naffe tugenda ganyulwamu naye kati olutalo bwe luzze ate bano abazungu abavuganya n'abarwasa ne bazira amafuta gaba Russia ate ne baagala naffe tuzire ono azize ate nange atali mu lutalo nange nzire ekintu ekyo tukyasirise tetunakyogerako nnyo kati yensonga ebbeeyi amafuta okulinnya waggulu. Now some people, then it's not only petroleum, even other products like wheat, which was coming from Ukraine mainly and Russia, apparently. Then fertilizer, mainly from Russia. Now, earlier on, Corona, because of Corona, we had a problem of palm oil, of vegetable oil from Indonesia and Malaysia. When Corona was disturbing the world, the hotels closed, the schools closed, and because of that, apparently, less soap was being used because the hotels were closed, so they don't use soap. The schools are closed, the institutions are closed, so people were using apparently much less soap when they are in their homes. Now, the people who are producing palm oil, who produce palm oil in Malaysia and in Indonesia, I think had to either produce less oil or they diverted their oil to other things. I think they started getting petrol, because you can get petrol out of oil, of that oil. So because the hotels were no longer buying, I think they diverted their oil. So when the economy of the world opened, the other people had withdrawn from the market. Bali abali batuguza amafuta g'ebinazi bali bavudde mu kaweefube ow'okutuguza amafuta, ndowooza bali batandise okugakozesa ebirala okukola nga okugyamu petrol ey'okuvuga emmotoka. So that shortage was also there, the one of soap. Now, with all these problems, then people started having different ideas. The usual ideas, simple ideas. You remember the other time I told you about omuhanda ligendwa ogulukuza omu Gehenna, the big route in the Bible. It talks of the big route, the big highway, which will lead you to Gehenna, or the narrow path, which will lead you to salvation. NRM always takes the narrow path. Because when Amin came, the big highway was that we should support Amin. For us, we said, no. Akakuba akafunda. Akahanda akafunzire. The narrow path of difficulties of what? Is the one which will lead to salvation. The same with 1981 when we had to fight Mzee Obote. When this corona came, again we took the narrow path. Some of the other people were taking the big highway. We should have rallies, we should have a Binyumo. Some were, even religious people, I couldn't believe it. Even some of the religious people said God was only in the church. That was against my, because when I, in 1957, when I had to reaffirm my Christianity by studying for the confirmation, I was told that no, God is omnipresent. That's what I was told. Now some people are saying God is only in the church. If we don't go to a building, there's no, oh, please. Eh? So you remember we had really to argue with all these groups. That's how we were able to avoid a catastrophe. Now with this one again, with the high prices of fuel, shortage and high prices of palm oil, shortage and high prices of fertilizer, shortage of something else. Then ideas started coming. Cut taxes on these products. Subsidize. But do you know that there's a difference between obusere nebula lyebintu? Obusere. There's a difference between high prices for commodities and shortage of commodities. Commodities are not there. So, which is better? Ebola or obusere? Of course, what would be best would be ekyengera n'ebbeeyi entono, plenty and low prices. But if you are in this situation where you see Europe is burning, you saw what was happening there. Europe is on fire. Europe, America, they're on fire. The war, but even without the war, the mismanagement of nature, omwenkanonkano, omweringanizo, okwagala kwefuula nga Katonda, was already causing a big problem. The war has just added, the war of Ukraine. So in this situation, the biggest problem, the biggest danger you have, you can no longer have a chengera now. Plenty. You can no longer have plenty. To think that you can have plenty in this type of situation is what the Banyankore say, a man who was told that the house is on fire, and then he said, you prepare the bed for me to sleep. Sleep where? The house is on fire. So, nzomuyekera bwe ndaba embeera ng'eno awo engambira nti wano wafiira muloge, that we must migrate and do something else, not subsidize this danger. Because when you subsidize, people will continue buying more and more and more and more, because they will not see you will create an artificial comfort to the people for them to think that things are normal when they are not normal, and you do that by bleeding yourself. Akasente kobadde oterese, kobadde oterekedde abaana kudda mu ssomero, kati okajjeyo noyongera ku transport, yugenda mu town. So you are now going to encroach on your reserves, because we have got foreign reserves. Our reserves have been good. In the past, it used to be about $3 billion, but now they are more than $4 billion. Now, if you subsidize, first of all, you mislead people. People think that things are normal. And they don't kekereza, they don't economize, they don't kekereza. And you now start depleting your foreign reserves. And if you don't control that situation, you can now go from Obsere to Ebura. When you no longer have the, like what happened in Sri Lanka. You saw that country, Sri Lanka, is a fairly well-developed country. But because of those of mistakes, they don't even have money to import. So, Obsere in Sri Lanka have become Ebola. Total. They can't buy anything. Why? Because the foreign currency is finished. Why? Because they were not careful. So therefore, the mistake of subsidies and tax cuts are two. First, you mislead the people. They don't know that the situation is bad, and they need to economize. They go on using as if things are normal. Then, in the end, you may transform Obusere high prices into Ebura, total shortage. That's one mistake, one negative consequence that can come from that. But the other one like the one of cutting taxes, because these taxes are in order to develop. The taxes are in order to develop. We want to make new roads. We want to make new products, new projects. Now, instead of, now because of that, those projects are stopped. The money is put in cham, just eating, okulia, okuvuga, motoka, abagenda wano, abagenda wali. The tarmac road from Rusarira to Kawamba to Nkonge to Ntutsi to Zimbabwe, to Gireke, esente tuziteke mu kukwatirako abagala kugula more petrol, abagala kugula petrol yokuvuga moto. That's not a correct way. So what is my answer? Especially because in all this, on the side of palm oil, we had started, but it was because of Empaka, because of people who always interfere with us, that we had not become totally self-sufficient in palm oil. But we started with the Karangara project, and we had long planned for Buvuma, for Sangobe, but because of the Empaka, because of Okuskanga no Mugua, struggling, people opposing what is good. This situation found us halfway, but we are now moving, and I can ask these people to show you the palm oil on, for instance, in Maruzi Ranch, Tulage, if it is there, show us the palm oil, the new plantations in Maruzi. Ah, that's Maruzi now. Got palm oil. Then if you can show us Karangara, the old ones, if you have them, show us. So palm oil, instead of instead of the money being put into subsidizing the present mistake, because this is a mistake. We are in a situation of mistake of that is Karangara. We are now in a situation of a mistake. Now to spend our money there on Evinatera or Kuvao, things which will no longer be there in 20 years' time. We would rather put the money to go to a new way, a safer way. That is therefore, we are building more capacity for our own Buto, Yebinazi, Sangobe, Buvuma. We are going to be not only self-sufficient, but even some people are growing a lot of sunflower and other seed and other oil seeds. So that is our answer. More of that. On the issue of the fertilizers, our project in Sukuru here, Tororo, will answer, and also the Lekarbat, the gas, the nitrogen. We will solve that problem of fertilizers. And then the other big problem now, so that one now leaves fuel. Now, this fuel, petroleum, even when the war in Ukraine ends, is likely to remain high. Even our own petrol, when we start getting it here, we cannot sell it cheaper than the world price. We shall have to sell it at the price of the world price minus the transport costs, because this one will be near here. So it will be a bit cheaper because of removing the transport costs, but it will still be higher than it was in the past. So the correct way is to start moving away from petrol to electric cars. And we have already started. And the railway, because there are two ways you get from petrol. That is our car. That is Chira bus, made here in Uganda. That bus there is electric. We had planned this not because of oil crisis, no. we had planned it because we want to modernize Uganda. But fortunately now, when this problem comes up, this is the solution we should go for. These buses are already made here. The engineers have told me they need 20 billion to make more buses, 20 billion shillings to make more. They have already made those ones, you see them. That one is now being used to transport CAA staff, civil aviation staff. Now, before I came here, I spoke to engineer Paul Musasizi, one of the designers of that bus. He told me that before the oil crisis, before this crisis we are talking about, they had made the Chibaro, the comparison. That for this bus here, this electric bus, it uses Uganda shillings 360 per kilometer. The other one, the one of diesel, was using 1,600 shillings per kilometer. 5 times more expensive than this one. Before the oil, so they have not made the calculation now with the oil you've said. Yeah. So the correct way, if we have money, instead of spending it on subsidizing mistakes, we would rather use it to get out of the mistakes. Wano wafira muloge tusenguke tugende awasinga obulungi ate awanaabeerawo olubeerera, because electric vehicles are cleaner, they don't have pollution, they are cheaper, apparently they have got less maintenance costs. That's what I hear. So that is for the bus, but we need now also to deal with the other ones. I will tell Barimunsi to bring these engineers here on the TV, and they explain to you what do we do with the trucks, with the motorcycles. Because this is for the buses. So therefore, this pressure to spend whatever little money we have on subsidizing problems would rather, if that money is there, would rather use it to get out of the problems permanently. The Engano, the other thing is the Engano. The answer for the Engano, I have not. If Engano can be grown in flat areas, we can grow it for those who want Engano, the wheat. We can grow it also. They were growing it in Kapchorwa, but the land there was not enough. But for Engano, we have got alternatives. Me, I don't eat bread. I have not eaten bread for a long time. My meal is muhogo, gonja, etoke, empogola, akaro. That's why I'm going to be 78 very soon. But if you want football here, you will see how we can sort it out. So for the Engano, I think there are alternatives. But banana flour, the one of Dr. Muranga. Now on the foods, apart from the climate change, which affected fuel, then the war, which made it worse, and then the fuel is the one which goes into all other products, because we are transporting matoke using petrol or diesel. We are transporting, so you find matoke also becomes expensive because the carrier is expensive. That's why the medium and long-term answer is electric car and the trains, using the trains. We are now repairing the meter gauge from Tororo to here, the old railway. Once that one is operating, it can be used, even the one of Gulu. Once people get tired with the expensive diesel or petrol, they will shift to the train. Unfortunately, the train for Pakwach, Gulu, all the way to Tororo is there. They are repairing it. The one from Tororo to here is there. They are repairing it. So it's better we put emphasis on that so that we start using the train for cargo. For cargo, even passengers. So that we spend less on this expensive. The only long-term problem may be Kasese, because the line was vandalized. We shall have to build a totally new one there. Now, on top of the climate change, which causes the original problem of oil being expensive, the war in Ukraine, now we have been having a problem of bad weather here in Uganda. The rain was not so good. So some of the harvests, like the maize, we had hit about 5 million tons, but I think this season we may end up with about 3 million tons. So the rain was not reliable. Now, the answer there The answers there are three. Number one, the PDM, the parish development model. That one is for the smaller people with smaller pieces of land. The ones whom we want to use intensive agriculture. And for them, they would do 7 activities. Coffee, 1 acre. Fruits, 1 acre, if he has what we call the 4 acres model. Fruits, 1 acre. Dairy, pasture for dairy, 1 acre. 1 acre for food crops. Then in the backyard, poultry. In the backyard, piggery. And if he's near a valley, we can make a fish pond, he makes a fish pond. These are the activities that, this is the medicine for the man of 4 acres or less. But Uganda needs the other crops also. We need maize. We need cotton. We need bananas. We need ranches, cows, indigenous cows which are not directly for dairy. We need sugar cane for sugar, avocado. So that's why agriculture now has got an ambitious plan. Finally, they have listened to my advice. But my advice was, PDM is for the smaller people, the ones of 4 acres and less, to use their smaller land to get maximum returns. But you cannot do poultry without maize, which is from which we get animal feed. So who will grow the maize? Because the maize is not very profitable if you grow it on a small scale. It only makes money when you do it on a big scale. So, I've been talking for a long time. You people, you get the rich farmers, the big farmers. Even me, I can grow maize for you if you want. But we need to be organized. Now, agriculture finally has come out. I saw a document the other day that they are going to mobilize prisons, mobilize the army, NEC. Prisons is already producing on a big scale, but they can do more. I don't know whether there are some figures. Where are the other documents? I'll read it here. It is here. The prisons was already doing something. They are going to do now much more. And then the big farmers. So, and then this will use now irrigation. Not just producing maize and these big crops which are not for the PDM. The PDM, they can even use handheld irrigation because the land is small. Instead of the crops dry, you can go to the garden and you get water and you irrigate. I did it in Kaumu. I used the can. Because the land is not big. But for the big land, you need more organized irrigation. So, we already have 9,000 hectares irrigated. Wadirai, 400 hectares. Mobuku 1, Mobuku 2, Kasese, 2,000 hectares. Ngenge, Kwen, 880 hectares. Doho Butareja, 384 hectares. Rwengaju, Kawarore, 152 hectares. Agoro, Kitgum, 600 hectares. Olwenyi, Ilira, 1,016 hectares. Tochi, Oyam, 550 hectares. Achomai, Bukedia, 2,584 hectares. Atarai, Kwen, 680 hectares. But this is now for the area irrigation. But we are also promoting aggressively micro irrigation. Like me on my lands, my daughter who is in charge there, Diana, she has already put solar powered pumps and she's watering the cows using those solar powered pumps. That same system can also be used for irrigation. You can pump water using solar pump up to a high ground and then you irrigate. So the rich farmers are going to be helped to do that on their own, not to wait for these centrally controlled government programs, irrigation schemes. And I can see here the minister was proposing Uganda prisons is currently cultivating 9,000 acres. They are going to upgrade to 20,000 acres of production. The National Enterprise Corporation will do 2 square miles. Narrow will do 3,000 square miles. Then big farmers in northern Uganda will do 100,000 acres. So you are going to have almost 200,000 acres of large-scale production. This did not include the sugar groups. They were talking about maize and so on, but the sugar were not included. So we are really gearing up to produce not only on the small scale by the PDM, massively, partial development model, but also the big scale farmers now with irrigation So therefore, this is the way forward. Instead of saying that we should spend money on these existing problems, we should survive there by kukekereza, then we migrate to better solutions. Now, finally, ebigambo bisatu: obulimba, obunyunyusi, obutalengera. We've got 3 words: lies, parasitism, and not seeing far, not having vision. We had a big argument about producing roasted coffee, ground coffee, and packaged, packed here in Uganda. There were debates in Parliament which were people were just telling lies. And those who are telling lies are the Banyunyusi, the parasites. Parasites. At Kololo, I think I was talking to the State of the Nation address or something, I pointed out the coffee business in the world is now bringing in $460 billion. $460 billion. The coffee producing countries in the world, the whole world, which are in Asia, Vietnam, Africa, like Uganda. Uganda is the biggest in Africa, and South America. Out of the 460 billion, they take away only $27 billion. The remaining more than 400 billion, 440 billion, 430 billion is taken by the developed countries. This is not acceptable. And Africa, of the 460 billion, Africa takes 2.5 billion. How can this be? And the answer is very simple. I told my children who live in London to buy for me these products in London. I want to know how many. This is 227 grams. What is the price? Where are the prices? Huh? Anyway, the prices are not clear here. This is from Kenya. This one is how many? 227 grams also. They are all 227 grams. Now, when you sell our good coffee here, what they call Screen 18, these are from supermarkets in London, these ones here. You can find out how much each one costs, each of these. But what I checked was that when you take 1 kilo of cassis, of the coffee where you have removed the husks, When you roast it, it shrinks, becomes 700 grams. Is it 1,000 grams at the kilo? So it is 1,000 grams. When you roast it, it becomes 700. Now, you can go and check this. This 227 grams, how much does it cost in the supermarket in London? So that means out of our 1 kilo, you can get 2.5 of these, because it would have shrunk to 700 grams, and this is 227. So 2 of them are like 500, and then almost three of these from 1 kilo. Now you check how much this package is costing. But when I checked, it was, here our people are being paid $3 for the very good coffee, the Screen 18, $3. When you do this conversion from bean to this one, it becomes about $30. Comes like $30. I can't read them properly here, but they are here. You can go. The prices, I want to know where the prices are. They have the quantities here. So, how can people accept this? And before I came here, I checked with some of the coffee growers. Who is against value addition? They told me that we don't know. It is the middlemen. It is the exporters. The exporters who want to export our unprocessed coffee. So that they give us the $3 for the very good coffee, the Screen 18. The other one they give us, I think, $1 and something. Then for them they go and process in Europe and get $30, where we got only $3 or less. The coffee farmers have told me that we don't know. We don't know. We are not part of that. We are not part of that. So you want to give me some information? Let me see. Okay, you can check. Oh, okay. You come and pick the ones you want. But they will check them, and Balimus will. Balimus will. But what I checked was, for the kilo, for which we get $3 of the good coffee, a clever person gets $30. And this is what I cannot accept. So, those who are telling lies, I am now here. I'm going to answer you. Obulimba, obunyunyusi, obutalengera. So, with these few words, I think everything has been covered. This is the bus, the electric bus. This is the answer. Buses, electric motorcycles. Instead of is at the bottom of the bottle. The bottle here. This is $5. This is $5. Now, what is the weight here? 200 grams. This is 200 grams. 200 grams, $5. And our kilo was $3, our kilo. And here you have got 200 grams out of 700. That is, so this would be like $18 or so. The 700 grams would get you $18 from the kilo where we got $3. It goes up 6 times. So even if you were to remove transport from here to Europe, the difference can't be so much. Can't be so much. So this is we have now increased the production of coffee to 8 million bags, and we are getting only $800 million. Somebody told me that Switzerland is getting like 2 billion from coffee, which they don't grow. They just process. They just roast ours. So I thank everybody for today. I'll come back for more discussion. Thank you very much. Some information?
Also have enough air.
It is intellectually engaging.
And you can only become a leader when there are problems.
I like that.
The same applies to Rwanda, Burundi. So what are we federating?
Whether rats from another country can be, I mean, somebody must be there to hold everybody accountable.
But at the moment, we would rather deal with what we have, make it right.
first of all, we as elites of Uganda we have made Museveni the issue. I can tell Museveni is not the problem of Uganda. The problems of Uganda are much deeper. We can change the next 20 presidents and we'll still be this roundabout.
Deeply incisive.
The different political forces that we have in the country, in the country, we don't seem to really have achieved that minimum political consensus over certain things.
Authentically symbolic and insightful. Behind the Headlines, every Wednesday at 10 p.m. with Charles Odong Thor. All on your public broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
At Timex Nutrition Center, we advise you on the right foods to eat, exercise profile to adopt, and lifestyle strategies which are compatible to your blood group and genotype. This empowers your body to prevent and treat many diseases like diabetes, blood pressure, arthritis, ulcers, obesity, and many others. For more information, find us at our head office in Kampala on Nassa Road, Conrad Plaza, 2nd floor, or call 0758 819 952 or 0778 288 361. We also have other branches in Bara and Jinja.
Nkwete mama Rita Yaman Rasta chazi ninyeta bantu mwena abanyambarana n'emyanya etorireho manya aharwa mukagoro a University in ntuza kubatu yo mu kitimbure cha UBC West mwize mwena ninza kubatera obweshongoro bwanje obusya na nobukuru bwona
Gana maso Tega chala babalala musaba jogenda Gwetogenda no mulala Yo, amabara gange ninyo oluse karungi omzini wanyu omutoro ati. On 23rd July, I will also be there at Mbarara University in Hachitumbure cha UBC West in Kaona. Don't miss mwije abana bomukatu batero omuziki.
Okay, abanyambarani tuyenda okubagambira kigambechi. Ne bacheta ekitimbure cha radio UBC West. Tugenda kubera ku University in. Tugenda kubera mu Gardens University. Banji ba comedians banji. Tuje tunyumirwe. Don't miss. Yeah man. Comedy Gata Milata. Madratan Chico. 23rd of this month. Saturday by the way. Abiri mwezi satu tuliya ku University in. UBC West HT wapi? Ekitimbure.
Paka kasiza ntiba kuberayo. Ulira.
Eno beats. Ekitumbure cha UBC West straight up mu tugenda kubera wao ku University in grounds muje tusimbule mulete nene mad.
Lavu yechitonji tide, wemuyombanga munda mate, sapande vyo na matide, yes, amina vito mugabi krefa jie.
Abantu bembararara, music time yedano, tesanga yuku university.
Osibu ekitimbule kuruno, tori genda muguru, ngena kuzomwezi 23 mwezi gwa July 2022, engudo zonna, zolekedde University in Gardens Mbarara. Iranga abayimbi bonna, bakakasiza nti bakuberayo.
Tusimbute Abanja basanze tusimuse
Bagidwa UBC Pepsi Cola Delight Solar Bella Wine.
A very warm welcome. You're starting rather late. I want to apologize for that, but for a good cause, we have been listening to the head of state addressing the nation on different subjects. Thanks a lot, though, for holding on for the show. This is Behind the Headlines. This Wednesday, the 20th of July 2022. I want to welcome all of you, my viewers, from the Africa, the Women's Africa Cup of Nations. The last 2 weeks we have been telecasting that to our lovely audiences. Very important exercise as well on the continent. But today we are back with fresh discussions and fresh guests in the studio here. And today we are going to be looking at one of those issues in town, not just affecting only this town, but the whole country.